Alright, so today's movie review is Seven Chances from 1925, starring and directed by Buster Keaton. Some essential movie details from IMDb. The most famous scene of this film has originated by an accident. In the filming of a chase scene down a steep slope, Buster Keaton inadvertently dislodged some rocks which tumbled after him as if in pursuit, as he had to scramble to dodge them. At a preview showing, Keaton saw that the accident got the biggest laughs in the film. Thus inspired, he decided to reshoot the scene with over 100 paper mache quote unquote rocks, ranging from pebbles to 6-foot boulders, so his character would have to deal with a massive avalanche in the scene. Alright, so now I'll get into my thoughts on the plot. The plot, I give it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was just okay. To me, the story really doesn't pick up until the last act of it, which is like the last 10 minutes or so. And there's a whole crowd of women chasing him around because they think he's, tricked them into getting the $7 million, because his whole purpose is to get married, by sundown, because he's 27 that day, because his uncle left him a $7 million inheritance and says, but you have to be 27 by 7 p.m. of your 27th birthday. And he's like, well, that's tonight, right? So he's just chasing around trying to find someone who's willing to marry him. But honestly, I thought it was just an okay plot. I give it a 3 out of 5. I thought the idea was funny, and it reminded me a lot of Brewster's Millions. I think that's a book before it was several movies. So if you've seen that, like the Richard Pryor one, that's basically what this story is. I don't know. I thought it was executed better there. To me, the funniest moment is when he's being chased by the rocks and by the women and just doing his crazy stunts. That's really the highlight of the movie, and it's like 5 minutes of the movie. So you could see that without having to actually watch the whole thing. You could watch a clip of it on YouTube. So that's why I gave the plot a 3 out of 5. Alright, so the acting I gave a 4 out of 5. I thought it was good. I thought Buster was really good. With his deadpan, straight-faced delivery. To me, he's always the funniest in every scene he's in. And I love the scene where everyone's laughing at him when he's trying to ask women to marry him. That is the funniest moment for him. But honestly, other than that, no one really stands out to me. He is the best part of it. Which is a shame, because if you watch, like, The General, for example, his love interest is actually really funny, too. So in this one, it's really just him delivering all the gags. Everyone else is kind of secondary. And so that's why I give it a 4 out of 5, because he carries a lot of the weight. But no one else really stood out to me. Alright, let's talk about directing. I gave it a 4 out of 5. So Buster also directed the film. Unlike The General, where you have the train that's kind of a big part of the movie, or Sherlock Jr. with the movie theater, they play big parts. There's no, I would say, set piece like that that's really a big part of the story, other than the paper mache rocks, but that's a segment, that's not the whole movie, right? Because with those movies, he was able to incorporate them into the story and incorporate the comedy into that. With this, honestly, you wouldn't be able to differentiate this movie from his shorts he made before feature-length films, like Cops, or the names of other ones are escaping me, but like, to me, there's no character or no set piece that really connects you to the comedy, to the story. It's seriously lacking here. Now, having said all of that, I still think he did really creative with the rocks, with people chasing him, with some of the camera movements, and I'll talk about that in cinematography and special effects, but yeah, I don't think it was his best directed film. I think the focus was for sure on the stunt scenes, not on the story itself. Alright, so speaking of that, so for cinematography and special effects, I give it a 5 out of 5. To me, this is the highlight and the best part. I mean, like in this scene right here, the camera's kind of moving forward, this huge group of women is chasing him. That's just really funny to me. It's a really funny visual gag. Or there's a scene where he's at a train yard being chased by them, and he gets lifted up by a crane. That was a crazy stunt and camera work. And or the stunt where he's jumping on a tree that's being cut down. Now, it kind of jump cuts, so I assume He jumps on a tree, and then they actually knock over a tree with a stunt double, and then he's in the tree at the bottom, and they kind of intersplice that together. It doesn't look like a fluid motion, but honestly, that's really it for me. That's the amazing part, and it's all near the last 10 minutes. Everything else is pretty standard, almost pretty boring, I want to say. It's not as entertaining as like The General I keep mentioning, or Sherlock Jr. Where Sherlock Jr., there's constant funny things going on around him. Or Our Hospitality, that's another really funny one too. So, as amazing as the cinematography, stunt work, and all that is, it's not his best work. It's not his best work. Alright, let's talk about the music. So, as with silent films, you never know if this is the original score or not. In this case, it was. This was restored through the Cohen Media Group. They work a lot, I want to say, with Criterion. I can't remember which company, but they're like Criterion. They do releases of movies, and I believe they're a British-based company. I saw this on Canopy, and this is the restored version of the movie, the full thing, that you'll see by Kino Lorber as well later this year. But it's a 56-minute long film, and the score is actually really good. I give it a 4 out of 5. I've always liked that upbeat jazz, Dixieland style music. I always find that to be really entertaining. But I'm a little biased because I love that style of music anyway, and I'm learning to play the tenor banjo, and that's one of the happiest sounding instruments, and that's throughout this film. So it helps the story along. It's definitely not as memorable, though, as the General score. That one is really, really memorable to me. This one is not as good as that. So that's why I gave it a 4 out of 5. Alright, so tallying that all up, that brings my Letterboxd score to 4 out of 5, which is exactly what it was at. And that brings my Criticlist score to an 80%. So would I recommend this movie? Only if you're a real Buster Keaton fan. It is a funny movie, but I would show you his more funny ones first and then this one. Like The General, Sherlock Jr., Our Hospitality, The Cameraman. There's a couple other better ones. Navigator, that's another good one. I would show you all of those before I show you this one. This one I think fans of Buster Keaton or of silent era comedy would appreciate a lot more than just the average moviegoer. Alright, well those are my thoughts on 7 Chances from 1925 from Buster Keaton. And so with that, that's today's movie review.